So far on this channel, we've taken a particularly close look at the watches worn by familiar faces in film and television. But today we're going to be shifting gear ever so slightly and instead taking a look at the timepieces worn by some of the world's leaders, past and present. And while an actor's watch might have been chosen by a stylist or wardrobe department, a world leader's watch often tells us something far more personal. Whether it's a subtle nod to national heritage, a show of power, or a sentimental heirloom passed down through generations, these watches do more than just tell the time. They tell stories. And really, whose time is more valuable than the people shaping the future of nations? From $10 plastic Casios to $500 million feats of engineering, these are the watches worn by presidents, popes, and prime ministers, and what they reveal about the people wearing them. Of course, many of these world leaders have a variety of watches in their collections, but I'm going to be focusing on just one piece for each of them, starting with Vladimir Putin. Russian President Vladimir Putin is one of the most powerful and influential world leaders today. And while he's known for a lot of things, he's been recognized by watch fans as someone who appreciates a good luxury watch. He's been spotted wearing pieces from Patek Philippe, Blancpain, and others. But one of the most extraordinary watches in his collection is the A. Lange & Söhne Tourbillon Perpetuel pour le Mérite. This German horological marvel features a tourbillon, perpetual calendar, split-second chronograph, and fusee and chain transmission, making it one of the most complex wristwatches ever created. Only 50 examples of this timepiece exist in the entire world, and it has an asking price of around $560,000 USD. With a case measuring 43mm wide and 16.6mm thick, it carries a commanding presence, and though the tourbillon is largely a novelty in modern wristwatches and the split-second chronograph is rarely used in daily life, the watch is a powerful statement, a timepiece befitting someone who sees himself not just as a president, but as a historic figure. King Charles III. As the reigning monarch of the United Kingdom, King Charles III is a man whose image is built on tradition, duty, and refinement. And while he's not necessarily one to flaunt excess, his choice in timepieces reveals a quiet appreciation for craftsmanship and heritage. Unlike flashier royals or power players, the king opts for subtlety and substance, a philosophy perfectly embodied by his longtime wrist companion, the Parmigiani Fleurier Tauric chronograph. The Tauric chronograph is not a widely known piece outside of watch enthusiast circles, but for those in the know, it's a masterstroke of horology. Introduced in 1996 as the very first watch designed by Michel Parmigiani, the Tauric helped establish Parmigiani Fleurier as a serious force in watchmaking. With its elegant fluted bezel, classical proportions, and refined finishing, it's a timepiece that speaks in a whisper, not a shout. It's reported that King Charles acquired the watch during a ski trip to Klosters, Switzerland in the late 1990s. Since then, the Parmigiani has been a fixture on his wrist during some of the most important moments of his life, from Prince Harry's wedding to his first official portrait as king to numerous state occasions. Though Parmigiani lacks the brand recognition of Rolex or Omega, it is a watchmaker's watchmaker, known for its in-house movements, intricate detailing, and dedication to traditional watchmaking. In the understated elegance of the Tauric chronograph, we see not just a reflection of personal taste, but of character. And we can't talk about King Charles without mentioning his late mother and former monarch, Queen Elizabeth II. Among the many watches worn by the late Queen Elizabeth, none is as opulent or significant as the Patek Philippe reference 4975 1G. Made specifically for Her Majesty, this dazzling timepiece features a pearl bracelet, diamond embellishments, and exquisite detailing, befitting royal standards. In 2015, the Queen loaned the watch to Patek Philippe for exhibition, a rare public glimpse into her collection. And even though it's officially priceless, experts believe that if ever sold, this could become the most valuable ladies' wristwatch ever to hit the market. Emmanuel Macron. French President Emmanuel Macron is often praised for his polished, modern style, and his choice of wristwear is no exception. On his wrist, he can be frequently seen wearing the Longines Dolce Vita, a slim, rectangular dress watch powered by quartz movement. With its clean lines and classic proportions, the Dolce Vita draws clear inspiration from the iconic Cartier tank, a watch steeped in French design heritage. But in spite of this, Macron forgoes the more luxurious Cartier in favor of a Longines, a brand known for offering heritage styling at a more accessible price point, with his model retailing between $800 and $1,000. The choice has sparked some light-hearted commentary, but it also speaks volumes about Macron's image as a leader. He favors timeless design over opulence, projecting practical elegance rather than excess. It's a watch that blends formality with approachability, perfectly in step with the president who walks the line between elite statesman and man of the people. Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un, supreme leader of North Korea, has a particularly complicated relationship with luxury, especially when it comes to wristwatches. Under United Nations sanctions, the export of high-end goods to North Korea is strictly prohibited, making luxury watches technically off-limits. And yet, that hasn't stopped Kim from being photographed on numerous occasions wearing what appears to be a Movado Museum classic, a sleek minimalist timepiece distinguished by its single dot at 12 o'clock, meant to symbolize the sun at high noon. Interestingly, a very similar watch is worn by Paulie Walnuts in The Sopranos. At first glance, the Movado seems like an unusual choice, understated, elegant, but hardly extravagant. Depending on the specific version, it may be gold-plated or solid gold, with prices ranging anywhere from $500 to $4,000. It's far from the most expensive watch on this list, but its presence on Kim's wrist raises more questions than it answers. How did he acquire it, given that Movado has been US-owned since 1983? There's also an underlying irony to his choice of watch, as despite his nation's staunch anti-Western rhetoric, Kim wears a timepiece rooted in Western design philosophy, Swiss heritage, and American corporate ownership. Perhaps it's a reflection of his desire to project sophistication on the world stage, or perhaps it's just a quiet indulgence. But either way, it's an unusual choice for one of the most politically isolated and enigmatic leaders in the modern world. Donald Trump. Trump has worn a variety of timepieces over the years, from iconic luxury brands like Rolex and Patek Philippe, to the occasional appearance of his own, let's say questionably tasteful, Trump-branded watches. While never a known watch enthusiast in the traditional sense, his choices have often reflected his brand: bold, gold, and unmistakably attention-seeking. During his first term, however, there were a few surprises. He was spotted with pieces like the Rolex Day-Date reference 18038, also known as the President's Watch. He's also been spotted wearing both the Patek Philippe Ellipse as well as the Vacheron Constantin Historique Ultrafine 1968. That last watch, a slim, square-cased gold dress piece, made a particularly unexpected appearance on election night. Elegant and understated, it's powered by Vacheron's caliber 1120 and retails around $25,000. A quiet nod to heritage and refinement that stood in stark contrast to his otherwise ostentatious persona. Whether a deliberate signal or simply an off-brand moment, it didn't go unnoticed. Strangely, at his 2025 inauguration, there was no visible watch on his wrist. And whether that absence was symbolic or strategic, it was a curious omission, especially for a man who once launched an entire line of Trump timepieces. For someone who sold watches with his name on the dial, he doesn't seem all that eager to wear them. Anyway, that's it for today's video. If you want to see the watches of more world leaders, then let me know by leaving a comment and giving the video a like. Until next time, thanks for checking out the watch list.